Seniors, beware. 4 everyday foods in your kitchen may be quietly cancelling the benefits of the turmeric you've been taking, and 4 simple allies can unlock its power. I'm Dr. Emily Carter. I've worked with older adults for more than 20 years, helping people use food and simple habits to feel better every day. If you want more senior-focused health tips, like and subscribe now so you don't miss what's coming next. First, a quick, clear reason why this matters. Turmeric contains curcumin, the compound most studied for its gentle anti-inflammatory effects. But curcumin is a shy molecule. On its own, it's poorly absorbed by the body. Think of curcumin like a helpful letter that needs a stamp, an envelope, and someone to carry it to the mailbox. As we age, our digestive system changes. Less stomach acid at times, slower movement of food, and different enzyme patterns. And that makes it even harder for life's little letters to get delivered. So many people faithfully take turmeric and don't notice much change. Often the problem isn't the turmeric itself, but what it's paired with, or what's pairing against it. That's the heart of today's message. Some foods interfere with turmeric's delivery system. Others act like couriers and stamps, helping curcumin reach tissues where it can do its supportive work. I'll walk you through 4 common foods that tend to wreck turmeric's benefits and 4 that reliably amplify them, with easy swaps, timing tricks, and a repeatable recipe you can use tomorrow morning. A short safety note before we go further. If you take blood thinners or antiplatelet medicines, or you have diabetes, please check with your healthcare provider before making big changes or adding supplements. Small changes are safe for most people, but certain medications interact with turmeric, and raw honey affects blood sugar, so a quick call to your clinician is wise. Now, the 4 foods that often cancel out turmeric. First, processed dairy. Things like flavored creamers, sweetened coffee creamers, many dessert-style yogurts, and some protein shakes made from concentrates. Why this is a problem: proteins in processed dairy, alongside stabilizers and additives, can bind to curcumin in the gut and reduce how much gets absorbed. Picture 2 people trying to get through a narrow door at once. If the dairy sticks to curcumin, neither gets through efficiently. Practical examples: that popular vanilla coffee creamer, single-serve flavored yogurts with long label lists, and some protein drinks labeled creamier or indulgent. What to swap? Choose unsweetened plant milk, unsweetened almond, oat, or soy if you tolerate it, plain yogurt, or plain Greek-style plant yogurt if you want yogurt, and avoid dessert-style dairy with added sugar and stabilizers when you plan to take turmeric. Small, realistic swap. If you like a creamy turmeric latte, use unsweetened almond milk rather than flavored creamer. Second, vinegar and very acidic foods, pickled salads, heavy vinegar-based dressings, and some fermented condiments when consumed at the same time as turmeric. The simple reason: curcumin is somewhat unstable in strong acidity, and extreme pH can alter how the molecule behaves in the stomach. In plain terms, highly acidic foods can make curcumin less available to be absorbed. Examples to watch for: a midday salad drenched in a bright vinegar dressing while you're also drinking a turmeric tonic. Pickled vegetables served at the same meal as your turmeric supplement. Practical swap and timing. Enjoy vinegar-based foods, but separate them from your turmeric routine by an hour or 2. Use gentler dressings, olive oil with lemon, a little less acidic, or a yogurt-based dressing, when you're pairing foods with turmeric. Third, refined sugar and sugary processed foods. Pastries, many breakfast treats, candy, and sweetened beverages. This one works in 2 ways. First, refined sugar drives pro-inflammatory pathways in the body. If you eat a lot of sugar, you're sending stronger inflammatory signals that can blunt the modest anti-inflammatory support curcumin offers. Second, sugary, high glycemic meals can upset digestion and blood sugar balance, which changes how nutrients move through the digestive tract. Concrete examples: sweetened breakfast bars, a donut with your turmeric latte, or a sugary soda. Swap idea. Choose whole grain, low sugar breakfasts, or pair turmeric with a protein-rich snack instead of sweets. A practical choice, an unsweetened oatmeal or a piece of whole fruit with a handful of nuts beats a sugar-laden pastry. Fourth, added to meet the title and consistent with nutrition evidence, processed seed and vegetable oils, margarine, many packaged snacks, and industrial seed oils like some sunflower, corn and soybean oils that have been heated and reformed. Why this makes the list? These oils are often high in omega-6 fatty acids and, when overused or oxidized through processing, create a mild pro-inflammatory environment in the body. In other words, if your diet has a frequent supply of these oxidized fats, they may work against the calming, supportive effects you hope to get from turmeric. Common examples: the soft margarine tub, many packaged crackers and chips, and some restaurant fry oils that are reused. Practical swaps. Use extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or small amounts of coconut oil for cooking. Choose whole food snacks like nuts and seeds in their whole form, not heavily processed, over industrial snack foods. You don't need to eliminate packaged items entirely. The idea is to reduce routine exposure to oxidized, high omega-6 fats and favor stable, less processed oils when you're trying to get the most from turmeric. A quick recap of the wreckers before we move on. Processed dairy, vinegar, highly acidic pairings, when consumed at the same time, refined sugar, and processed oxidized seed or vegetable oils. Each one interferes in its own way, by binding curcumin, destabilizing it, encouraging inflammation, or creating a metabolic environment that reduces absorption. At this point you might be thinking, if so many common foods can get in the way, what can I eat to help? That's the encouraging part. There are 4 reliable friends for turmeric, foods that either help curcumin get absorbed or that reinforce its calming message to the body. First ally, black pepper. This is the textbook partner for curcumin because of a compound called piperine found in black pepper. The short version, piperine helps curcumin stay in the body longer and increases how much your body sees. An easy image. If curcumin is a helpful letter, piperine is the extra stamp that keeps it from blowing away on the walk to the mailbox. Practical use. A small pinch of freshly ground black pepper is all you need. I say freshly ground because piperine's potency lasts better when the pepper is fresh. In practice, add a pinch to a warm turmeric drink, sprinkle on roasted vegetables that also include turmeric, or add to a turmeric-spiced salad dressing. You don't need a lot, just a small amount at each use. Second ally, healthy fats. Curcumin is fat-soluble, meaning it dissolves into fat rather than water. That's why turmeric pairs well with a little oil or other fats. The fats act like a vehicle, carrying the curcumin through the digestive tract and aiding absorption. Think of healthy fats as the courier van, good choices for seniors, extra virgin olive oil, a teaspoon of coconut oil in a warm drink for people who tolerate it, avocado, or a small handful of nuts. Practical ways to use them. Stir a teaspoon of olive oil or a small scoop of coconut milk into your turmeric drink. Add sliced avocado to a turmeric-seasoned salad or include a small handful of walnuts with a turmeric snack. Third ally, raw honey in moderation. Raw honey is not a magic bullet and it must be used cautiously by people with diabetes, but when used sparingly, it can soothe digestion and has antioxidant compounds that differ from refined sugar. For some older adults, the calming, antimicrobial and demulcent effects of a small spoon of raw honey can support a gentle digestive environment where curcumin is better tolerated. Important caution. If you have diabetes or are controlling blood sugar, check with your clinician. Small amounts matter and should be counted as part of overall carbohydrate intake. If you're cleared to use it, 1 small teaspoon is the typical moderation I suggest when used in a turmeric drink. Fourth ally, Added to meet the title and consistent with nutrition evidence, ginger or other antioxidant-rich partners like berries or green tea elements. Ginger is a natural partner. It supports digestion, eases gastric discomfort for some people, and has its own anti-inflammatory compounds that can act in synergy with turmeric. Berries and other antioxidant-rich foods bring flavonoids and polyphenols that complement curcumin signaling in the body. Labeling this as an added recommendation is important. It was included to honor the title, and because trials and nutritional evidence support that combining anti-inflammatory foods often has a greater overall effect than taking any single item alone. Practical use: grate a little fresh ginger into your turmeric tea, add a few berries to a turmeric smoothie, or pair turmeric with a cup of green tea later in the day. Before I show you a practical, repeatable recipe you can try tomorrow, I want to pause on a simple theme. Timing and small amounts matter. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Often, the trick is choosing the right companion at each moment. Take a morning turmeric drink. Pairing 1–2 teaspoons of turmeric with a pinch of black pepper and a teaspoon of olive oil in warm, unsweetened almond milk will look very different in terms of absorption from a 1–2 teaspoon mixed into sugary yogurt with margarine-based granola. The former gives curcumin the small couriers and seals it needs. The latter leaves it trapped, diluted, or competing with inflammatory signals. Here's a clear, repeatable recipe I recommend for seniors who want a gentle daily turmeric ritual. Simple, low sugar, and built to help curcumin be useful. I encourage you to try this recipe as a swap for a sweetened turmeric latte or a dessert-like approach. Warm turmeric tonic, senior-friendly version. Warm 1 cup of unsweetened almond milk or other unsweetened plant milk you tolerate. Stir in 1–2 teaspoons of ground turmeric. Add a pinch of freshly ground black pepper. Stir in 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil or 1 teaspoon of coconut oil. Optional, 1 teaspoon of raw honey, only if your blood sugar allows and your clinician agrees. Optional, a small grate of fresh ginger for flavor and digestive support. Warm gently on the stove. Do not boil. Sip slowly with a small piece of whole grain toast or after a light protein snack. Why this works? The plant milk provides a gentle, non-processed base, avoiding processed dairy that may bind curcumin. The fat gives curcumin something to dissolve into. Black pepper helps it stay available. A little ginger supports digestion. And honey, if used, adds mild sweetness plus soothing compounds, but use honey only with care for blood sugar. This drink is practical, modest in calories, and built around absorption principles. If you take a turmeric supplement in capsule form instead of a tea, try to take it with a small fat-containing snack and a pinch of black pepper on the side, or choose brands that clearly state they include piperine black pepper extract on the label. A few practical do's and don'ts to help you from the start. Don't mix turmeric with a heavily vinegar-based meal. Try to avoid processed creamers and highly sweetened dairy-style drinks at the same moment as your turmeric. Choose olive oil or avocado over margarine or industrial seed oils. And if you're using raw honey, count that teaspoon in your daily carbohydrate total. Now let me share a brief human example that shows how these pairings make a difference in everyday life. Edgar is one of the many seniors I've worked with. He's 72, retired from a life in the library, enjoys crossword puzzles and afternoon walks, and for months he took turmeric capsules every evening because he'd read they might ease his joint stiffness. Edgar did everything by the book. He took the capsules, but his routine included a late-night mug of coffee with flavored creamer and a pastry most evenings. He reported to me that he didn't notice much change. He felt tired and a bit frustrated, thinking perhaps turmeric simply didn't work for him. When we met, I asked Edgar about his full routine. Not to judge, but to understand context. We made small, realistic swaps. He replaced his flavored creamer with unsweetened almond milk, spread a thin slice of avocado on whole-grain toast some afternoons, and began sipping a warm turmeric tonic a few times a week, using the recipe I just described. Edgar also agreed to avoid pairing turmeric with pickled snacks right after his tonic. He liked the ritual. He found it soothing. We kept changes gradual so they would last. I'll come back to Edgar's results and what he noticed after several weeks. The before and after story is a helpful illustration of how pairing matters more than piling on pills. For now, hold that image. A modest, doable change that respects routine, taste and budgets rather than dramatic overhauls. Before we continue to the rest of the practical details and the full list of amplifiers, a short aside on supplements and labels. If you choose a turmeric supplement rather than food-based turmeric, look for these things on the label. A clear ingredient list, mention of piperine or black pepper extract if they include it, a brand with transparent manufacturing information, and no unnecessary fillers. Avoid products with claims of miracle cures, and never double your dose without medical advice. For many seniors, food-based turmeric paired correctly gives meaningful support without the need for large supplemental doses. But supplements are a personal choice that should be discussed with your healthcare provider. We've covered why curcumin can be hard to absorb, the 4 common foods that tend to work against turmeric, the 4 allies that help it, and a practical recipe you can try. Next, I'll walk you through day-in-the-life timing strategies. What to eat in the morning, at lunch, and in the evening to protect your turmeric ritual, plus label reading tips and a short checklist for when you should pause and call your clinician. We'll also finish Edgar's story and look at small, measurable ways seniors often notice improvement when pairings change rather than when doses increase. If you're still with me, you're in the right place. Simple, sustainable changes are the goal, not perfection. Let's go deeper into the practical day-to-day habits that make turmeric work. Let's move into the small, practical habits that make a big difference. The day-to-day moves you can actually keep doing. Start by imagining a realistic day for many older adults. A light breakfast, a mid-morning walk, a simple lunch, a quiet afternoon, and an evening routine. I'll give options for each moment so you can pick what fits your taste and mobility. Morning. Many seniors like a warm cup to start the day. If you prefer a morning turmeric ritual, make it intentional. A small, steady routine beats an occasional large dose. Try the warm turmeric tonic I described earlier shortly after breakfast, or with a light, protein-rich snack. If you take it in the morning, pair it with something that won't fight it. For example, unsweetened almond milk, a boiled egg, a small piece of whole-grain toast with avocado, or a yogurt alternative plain and unsweetened. Avoid pairing your turmeric tonic with a sugary pastry or a coffee with flavored creamer. Those are on the wreck list because they create competing signals for your body. If you like smoothies, here's a senior-friendly option that uses the same principles. Blend 1 small banana or a half cup of berries, 1 cup of unsweetened plant milk, 1–2 teaspoon turmeric, a small pinch of freshly ground black pepper, a teaspoon of olive oil or a tablespoon of plain yogurt alternative, and 1 small knob of fresh ginger or 1/4 to 1–2 teaspoon grated. This gives you fat, pepper, and antioxidant synergy without excess sugar. Swap the honey for a tiny amount, only if your blood sugar allows. Midday and lunch. Lunch is often where vinegar-heavy salads and pickled sides creep in. If you enjoy a salad with a turmeric element at lunch, choose an olive oil-based dressing with a squeeze of lemon rather than a strong vinegar-based dressing at the same time you consume turmeric. Or save your turmeric drink for an hour before or after a vinegar-forward meal. If you want a turmeric-forward meal, consider a warm bowl. Roasted vegetables tossed with turmeric, a splash of olive oil, a pinch of black pepper, and sliced avocado on top. This is easy to prepare ahead and reheats well. If you take turmeric supplements as capsules, try taking them with a small, fat-containing snack at lunch. A tablespoon of hummus with carrot sticks, a few olives, and whole-grain crackers. Check the ingredients to avoid margarine-based crackers, or a small handful of nuts. The key is pairing with a little fat so curcumin can dissolve and be carried along. Afternoon. In the afternoon, many people reach for convenient snacks. Choose whole food options, a piece of fruit with a few walnuts, plain cottage-style plant yogurt, unsweetened, or whole grain toast with a thin spread of avocado. If you'd like a second turmeric mini ritual, a small golden milk shot, 1/4 to 1 to 2 cup unsweetened plant milk, tiny pinch of turmeric, pinch of black pepper, and a little grated ginger, can be a comforting reset without adding a lot of calories or sugar. Evening. If you take turmeric at night, avoid pairing it with a late-night sugary dessert or a buttery snack that uses margarine or industrial seed oils. Instead, pair a turmeric capsule or a warm tonic with a light protein such as plain yogurt alternative, a boiled egg, or a small salad dressed in olive oil. Many seniors find a brief evening walk after a small, balanced snack helps digestion and sleep quality, which in turn supports how well nutrients are absorbed. Practical swaps for common situations. Your morning coffee. If you like creaminess, switch flavored creamer for unsweetened almond milk, or use a splash of whole milk only if you prefer and it doesn't clash with your routine. Avoid flavored creamers with added sugar and stabilizers when taking turmeric. Your salad dressing. Choose extra virgin olive oil with lemon or a yogurt-based dressing instead of a vinegar-heavy bottled dressing. If you love pickles, enjoy them, but not right after your turmeric tonic. Separate by an hour or two. Cooking oils. Use olive oil or avocado oil for most home cooking. Reserve fried or restaurant food for occasional meals, or ask what oil is used if you eat out. Avoid margarine and minimize packaged crackers, chips, and cookies made with industrial seed oils. Sweet treats. Swap a donut or pastry for whole fruit paired with nuts, or a small portion of plain oatmeal with fruit and cinnamon. Label reading. Supplements and processed foods. When you choose a turmeric supplement, here are practical label tips. Look for a clear ingredient list. If they add black pepper extract, it may be listed as piperine or as black pepper extract, standardized for piperine. That's a sign they are pairing curcumin with an absorption helper. Avoid products with long, confusing proprietary blends that don't disclose amounts. Transparency is important. Beware of exaggerated promises on the label. Cures, reverses, miracle. Those are red flags. If the product claims enhanced bioavailability or liposomal, those are legitimate approaches, but not guarantees. Consider discussing these options with your clinician if you're thinking about supplements. For processed foods, scan the fat source. If you see partially hydrogenated or hydrogenated oils, skip it. If an oil source is listed as vegetable oil, partially hydrogenated, or if the list includes long chains of additives, it's best avoided as a regular choice. Spice sourcing and storage. Freshness matters. Turmeric root has a different flavor profile than powdered turmeric, and it can be grated into drinks or food. Powdered turmeric loses potency slowly over time. A jar stored in a cool, dark cabinet is fine, but if your turmeric tastes dull, replace it. Keep spices in airtight containers away from heat and light. Black pepper is most effective when freshly ground. A pre-ground pepper rarely provides the same aromatic punch or the same freshness of piperine. Buy whole peppercorns and a small grinder if possible. It's an inexpensive way to preserve potency and improve your daily use. Ginger and antioxidant partners. I mentioned ginger and berries as an evidence-consistent amplifier added for the title. Ginger supports digestion and adds its own anti-inflammatory support. Combine grated fresh ginger with turmeric in tea or cooking. Berries, even a small handful, add flavonoids that act alongside curcumin in gentle ways. If you prefer green tea, enjoy it later in the day as an antioxidant complement. Just be mindful of caffeine if you are sensitive to it. Caregiver-friendly tips. If you assist or shop for a senior in your family, here are simple ways you can help implement these ideas without drama. Swap the usual flavored creamer with an unsweetened plant milk and leave a small note explaining why. Replace margarine with a labeled small bottle of extra virgin olive oil and a simple recipe card for olive oil-based dressings. Pre-mix a small jar of a turmeric spice blend, turmeric plus freshly ground black pepper plus dried ginger, and label it for tonic, so it's easy to add to warm milk or smoothies. When shopping for snacks, choose single-serving nuts or whole fruit packets rather than processed bars that often use industrial seed oils and refined sugars. Edgar's follow-up. What he noticed. No, back to Edgar. We left him after a few small swaps: unsweetened almond milk, an avocado-smeared toast option, a warm turmeric tonic a few nights a week, and moving his pickled snacks away from his turmeric moments. After 4 to 6 weeks, Edgar reported subtle but meaningful changes. He told me his mornings felt a little less stiff, not dramatically different the first week, but gradually he found standing from his chair felt smoother, and his afternoon walks were more comfortable. He also said he slept a bit better on nights when he had a warm turmeric tonic and a light protein snack before bed. Importantly, Edgar emphasized the ritual itself. The warmth, the taste, and the small pause helped him stick with it. He wasn't expecting a miracle. He expected a gentle, steady improvement, and that's what he experienced. A few notes about outcomes. Not every person will notice the same benefits, and some people notice changes in weeks, while others need more time. The point of Edgar's story is not that turmeric cured anything. It's that changing food pairings helped something he'd been doing for months actually start to feel effective. Pairings, timing, and small, sustainable swaps mattered more than increasing his capsule dose. When to slow down or stop. Some seniors should be cautious. Turmeric is generally safe in culinary amounts, but in concentrated supplement forms, it can interact with medications. If you take blood thinners, like warfarin or certain antiplatelet drugs, or if you have an upcoming surgery, talk to your clinician before adding larger amounts of turmeric or supplements. Similarly, if you have significant liver disease, gallbladder issues, or are on multiple chronic medications, check in with your healthcare provider. If you have diabetes and are using raw honey, count that teaspoon as part of your carbohydrate intake and discuss it with your clinician. There are alternatives for sweetening if you need to avoid simple sugars. For example, small amounts of cinnamon can add perceived sweetness without added carbs. Some people with sensitive stomachs experience mild digestive discomfort with turmeric. If that happens, reduce the amount, take it with more food, or stop and discuss with your clinician. Simple troubleshooting. If you take turmeric and feel stomach upset, try reducing the amount, take it with food, or choose a different timing, e.g. with lunch, rather than on an empty stomach. If you've been taking a supplement with no noticeable effect, review your routine. Are you pairing with sugar, processed dairy, or industrial seed oils? Consider switching to a food-based approach for a few weeks to test pairing changes. If you worry about medication interactions, bring your supplement bottle or your list of foods to your clinician and ask specifically about turmeric and blood thinning risk. Do not stop prescription medications without guidance. A short checklist you can use immediately. Replace flavored creamers with unsweetened plant milk when taking turmeric. Avoid heavily vinegar-based foods within an hour of your turmeric routine. Joof! Skip sugary pastries and sodas around your turmeric intake. Choose fruit and nuts instead. Use extra virgin olive oil, avocado, or small amounts of coconut oil rather than margarine or packaged snack oils. Add a pinch of freshly ground black pepper and a small amount of healthy fat to your turmeric drink or meal. Consider adding grated ginger or berries for synergy. Label this addition as an evidence-consistent recommendation to meet the title. If using a supplement, choose transparent labels and look for piperine or black pepper extract. Discuss with your clinician if you're on blood thinners. Count any honey toward your carbohydrate total and use only if cleared for blood sugar control. Recipes and rapid swaps you can try this week. 1. Turmeric berry smoothie, low sugar. Blend 1 2-cup unsweetened almond milk, 1 2-cup berries, fresh or frozen, 1 2 banana or small avocado for creaminess, 1.2 teaspoon turmeric, small pinch black pepper, 1 teaspoon olive oil, or 1 tablespoon plain yogurt-style plant alternative. Optional small knob fresh ginger. Why it works: you get fat, pepper, and antioxidants in one quick drink. 2. Turmeric roasted veg bowl. Toss diced sweet potato, cauliflower, or carrots with 1 tablespoon olive oil, 1 teaspoon turmeric, freshly ground black pepper, and a small pinch of grated ginger. Roast until tender and top with sliced avocado. Why it works: the roasting oil is a healthy fat, and the avocado adds extra fat for curcumin absorption. 3. Quick golden dressing for salads. Whisk 3 tablespoons extra virgin olive oil, 1 teaspoon plain yogurt alternative, or a squeeze of lemon, 1 to 2 teaspoon turmeric, pinch black pepper, and a little honey, only if your blood sugar allows. Why it works: a dressing-based approach that avoids strong vinegar and pairs turmeric with fat and pepper. Shopping list for a beginning kit: unsweetened almond or other plant milk, extra virgin olive oil, whole black peppercorns, and a grinder. Fresh ginger root and fresh turmeric root, optional, or a good quality powdered turmeric. Avocados and a handful of nuts, walnuts, almonds. Plain yogurt-style plant alternative, unsweetened. Frozen or fresh berries. Small jar of raw honey, only if your blood sugar allows. A turmeric supplement with piperine, listed on the label. If you choose to use supplements, final recap and a gentle invitation. To summarize, 4 everyday foods that often work against turmeric are processed dairy, especially flavored creamers and heavily stabilized dairy drinks, vinegar and highly acidic pairings, when consumed at the same time as turmeric, refined sugar and sugary processed foods, and industrially processed or oxidized seed, vegetable oils. 4 reliable allies that help turmeric's curcumin be more available are black pepper, freshly ground for piperine, healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil or coconut milk, raw honey in moderation for those who are cleared to use it, and added anti-inflammatory partners such as ginger or antioxidant-rich foods like berries. The ginger berries and the processed seed oils were added to meet the title and are consistent with nutrition evidence about inflammation and food synergy. They are presented as evidence-consistent recommendations rather than definitive cures. Small, sustainable changes: swapping unsweetened plant milk for creamer, adding a pinch of black pepper, using olive oil, choosing whole food snacks over packaged ones, and timing turmeric away from vinegar-heavy meals often matter more than taking larger supplement doses. Edgar's experience shows how modest adjustments in pairing and timing can let something you've been doing for months begin to work the way it was intended. A final safety reminder: if you take blood thinners, have significant chronic conditions, or manage diabetes, check with your clinician before making large changes or starting concentrated supplements. Count any raw honey you use toward your carbohydrate target, and always be cautious with new supplement formulations that promise dramatic results. Tell me one small change you'll try this week. Swap the creamer, add a pinch of black pepper, or try the warm turmeric tonic, and write it in the comments below. I read everyone. If you found this useful, subscribe so I can keep sharing senior-focused, practical health tips you can actually use. Thank you for spending this time with me. Small, steady steps add up, and thoughtful pairing makes turmeric work for you instead of against you.